I recently finished Elion on the way up here, and I was wondering if there's a biblical parallel for the lead hand race, and also if there was any kind of personal influence for the character of Shada.
Some of us haven't read it.
Well, let me just answer the second part of that. Shaeda, you guys all seen Lunatic, the cover of Lunatic. Now later on we're going to talk more about Elion, about Lunatic and Elion. But you've seen the cover of this really strange woman on the cover with two different color eyes. That's Shaeda, and she's a very seductive creature within Lunatic that you guys haven't discovered yet, and she's another incarnation, essentially, of Marsuvi's Black. I'm not ruining anything. Of Marsuvi's Black, of Tile, of any form, a different side of evil. Okay. The story that moves us, the story that we all live for, the story that we would die for is very simple. Understanding it and feeling it and experiencing it is extremely difficult. For one reason, is because the moment it becomes real, our carnal minds find a way to step out of it. So we, like manna, must constantly return to the truth over and over again. That's why, my stories, you'll find similar themes in new ways, new angles. I'm not going to come up with a whole new kind of story nobody's ever heard of, because, the stories are new, the plots are new, but the story itself, you see, the story itself, not the plot, but the story is very familiar. And my objective when I write is to write that same very familiar story and to write it in such a unique plot, that you don't even recognize the story until it reaches up and smacks you upside the head. You go, oh my goodness, I just read about, like in Red, and what happens with Justin. Yeah? Or like, that's what I do. I live to write stories that help me relive the story that's so familiar in a new way. Okay. Are they cutting us off?
No? Okay.
Am I?
As a lot of group of people here, I'm probably some of the older people here. And I've had your novels right from the beginning. I think a lot of bookstores have your novels because of me. It's a love-hate relationship. I just want to know, what part of your creative is the gruesome, brutal part? Why is this important to your novels? I love your novels.
That what?
Some of the gruesome, brutal parts.
Oh, the gruesome, brutal violence.
And I'm an older generation, and I read for recreation and relaxation. I love your novels. I have problems with some of that. I wonder why you
continue to write.
I don't want to get in depth.
I get it. Someone else asked me that question earlier, and a girl here came up to me and said, my parents want to know, they asked me why my books are violent, why is that okay? And it's really a very simple answer. It goes back to something I said a little bit earlier, but now we'll talk about it in terms of the violence specifically. And that is that it's very important for me that my characters and my stories actually represent life. Okay? That they're not they're not flannel graph pictures of life. They're not sugar-coated, to use a cliche, images that are meant to just pick us up. There's lots of other things that can pick you up, but that's not what I do. What I do is actually write truth about life. Let me tell you something about life. Life is what I read about in the Bible. Life is about war between good and evil. Life is about the devastating fall and the crushing blow to humanity when Eve was seduced and Adam followed. No gender comment there, I'm just telling you how it happened. Life is about the Old Testament, where wars were fought. Life is about the brutal slaying of Jesus, the price paid for our redemption. Life is about the leper girl, who lived all her life in humiliation and drug herself around the home without limbs, touched by Jesus. It wasn't just the moment of being touched by Jesus, it was her life. For me, that part, understanding the depths of the suffering from which we are rescued, is what, in part, defines the rescue itself. You see what I'm saying? If we have no reason to be rescued, if our lives are just fine, which is what American Christianity will lead you to believe in, it's a complete lie. If your life is just fine, by going to church and doing you tick your few boxes, there's no real need for real deliverance, is there? It was done. I said that prayer 20 years ago. I'm in the clear now. I'm not here to I don't want to dispute theology. What I want to do, though, is make the rescue from that darkness real by showing just how real the darkness is and how its claws constantly come after you and how you must constantly battle that evil. So I find American Christianity in general to be a very plastic kind of faith. It's a very religious kind of animal. And in large part rejected by the world because it's seen as such. My stories are about very real characters who actually go through very real struggles. You can't have a real struggle unless the bad guy is bad. Now, how do you make a bad guy? Okay, how do you make a bad guy that doesn't do mean things? I mean, I don't get it. How do you make a really evil character that actually isn't, well, evil? I mean, so you know what I'm saying? A lot of you read Marsuvi's Black. The guy is wicked. Okay? If I stripped out all of his wickedness and he didn't poke out the eyes with 2 fingers, he wouldn't be wicked. I got a sign being showed at me. It says, short answers, 10 minutes to go. So, I could talk about that subject right there for a long time, and I have in my blogs. By the way, a lot of these kinds of questions, I really encourage you to go to the website, look at the blogs, and I've written extensively on the issue of writing evil in my blogs, and much more intelligently than I'm saying them now because I'm a writer and not a speaker, really. So let's go here.